Meat has been promoted as one of the best sources of protein for generations. But is that the full story? Today, we're putting meat under the microscope and exploring not only what it provides, but also what it may cost our bodies, the environment, and the animals themselves. For thousands of years, humans have consumed meat. In many cultures, it's associated with strength, vitality, and protein. But in today's world, the meat we consume is very different from the meat our ancestors would have eaten. Modern meat production has become an industrial system, and that raises some important questions. Is meat really the best source of protein? One of the biggest arguments for eating meat is protein. Protein is essential. Our bodies need it to build and repair tissues, produce enzymes, hormones, and support muscle health. But here's something many don't realize. Protein isn't exclusive to meat. Many whole plant foods also provide protein, including lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, quinoa, and peas. A well-planned plant-based diet can provide enough protein. The conversation shouldn't simply be, where do you get your protein? It should be, what else comes with that protein? What else comes with meat? Depending on your type and cut, meat may also contain saturated fats, cholesterol, heme iron, purines. Processed meats also contain high levels of sodium, preservatives such as nitrites and nitrates, smoke flavorings, other additives. Research has associated regular consumption of processed meat with an increased risk of several chronic diseases, including colorectal cancer, amongst many others, and many health organizations recommend limiting processed meat intake. Your gut microbiome. Inside your digestive system live trillions of microorganisms. Collectively, they're known as your gut microbiome. Diet has a powerful influence on which microbes thrive. Whole plant foods provide dietary fiber, which feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Meat contains protein and other nutrients, but it does not provide dietary fiber. A diverse, fiber-rich diet has been associated with a healthier gut microbiome. The way meat is cooked matters. Cooking meat at very high temperatures, especially grilling, barbecuing, or charring, can produce compounds such as HCAs and PAH. Research has linked high exposure to these compounds with increased cancer risks in laboratory studies. The bigger picture. Beyond nutrition, there are ethical and environmental questions. Modern livestock production can involve intensive farming systems, high resource use, antibiotic use in some settings, significant greenhouse gas emissions. Many people choose to reduce or avoid meat, not only for health, but also because of concerns about animal welfare and environmental sustainability. Questions worth asking. When we choose our food, perhaps we should ask ourselves, where did this food come from? How was the animal raised? How was it treated? How was it fed? Could I meet my nutritional needs in another way? Sometimes asking better questions leads to better choices. There are several questions that I believe deserve serious consideration when discussing meat consumption. These are questions that in my view are often too overlooked. One of the first issues that I want to explore is what happens to an animal's blood once it has been slaughtered. When meat darkens or rusts post-slaughter, it is generally not a result of blood, but rather a chemical reaction involving myoglobin, the protein responsible for storing oxygen in muscle tissue. The reaction changes the oxidation state of iron atoms within the proteins, shifting the color of meat from bright red to brown. While slaughter requires draining of the blood, residual amounts of the blood protein, hemoglobin, remains in the tissue. Like myoglobin, hemoglobin also contains iron and undergoes similar oxidation. Furthermore, leftover blood in carcass can accelerate lipid oxidation, which is a separate chemical breakdown of fats that leads to rancidity and off flavors in meat. In my opinion, the process of oxidation raises important questions about what we are actually consuming. I believe this is something that warrants much greater attention and an honest discussion. It is also important to know that when we consume an animal, we are consuming more than just its physical body. We are also consuming the energy and emotional state that the animal experienced throughout its life, particularly in the moments leading up to slaughter. The fear, anxiety, distress, and suffering that many animals endure before death are inseparable from the product that ultimately reaches our plates. This leads me to assess the connection between what we consume and the increasing prevalence of fear, anxiety, depression, and other emotional and psychological challenges experienced by many people today. Another concern I have is the health of the animals themselves before they are slaughtered. If an animal is in a diseased or unhealthy state, or has been subject to intensive farming practices involving medications, injections, or other interventions, consumers have every right to ask what effects this has on the food supply. Likewise, I believe the treatment and welfare of animals throughout their lives deserves far greater scrutiny than it currently receives. Perhaps one of the biggest questions I continue to ask is, are there actually enough animals in the world to satisfy the enormous global demand for meat? When I consider the number of people consuming meat every day, I cannot help but question whether the number generally adds up. What is the actual ratio of livestock to human consumption? Does the supply realistically meet the demand, or is there more to the industry than the public is led to believe? Ultimately, I find myself asking even more fundamental questions. Is what we are being told is meat always meat? Or should we be questioning the true nature of what is being sold and consumed? These are my observations, my concerns, and the questions I believe deserve open, honest, and evidence-based discussions. My intention is not to tell people what they should believe, but to encourage them to think critically, ask difficult questions, and investigate the food they consume for themselves. For me, these are some of the reasons why I chose to go plant-based years ago, and since then I've not only seen the benefits in my health, but also that of my children's and my clients. What can we eat instead? If you're looking to reduce meat or cut it out altogether, focus on building meals around vegetables, beans, lentils, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and mushrooms. These foods provide fiber, vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and protein as part of a varied diet. Food is more than fuel. Every meal is an opportunity to ask, does this nourish me? Does it align with my values? Does it support the life that I want to live? For me, choosing whole plant food is about supporting my health, respecting the planet, and living in alignment with my beliefs.
I'm not walking in no shadows, I'm not trapped in yesterday. Every step I'm taking forward is creating